Welcome back to the Uncensored Voice. My name is John Melendez, and I'm filling in for Randolph Macias, who's on assignment today. On our program, we've got Richard Gold, who's running for Bexar County Clerk. Richard, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, John, I appreciate being here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
For this interview.
Richard, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I'm sure the voters in San Antonio would like to know how you became a San Antonio resident and what your roots here are in the Alamo City.
Oh, sure, John. I was born and raised in San Antonio, went to the Northeast School District. I graduated from Winston Churchill High School. After that, I joined the Army. I spent 3 years in the Army, so I'm a vet. After the Army, I went to college in the Rio Grande Valley called UT Pan American now, University, and I obtained a degree in marketing. While I was down there, I met a beautiful woman from Mexico and on South Padre Island, and now we've been married 41 years and have one son, and he's fluent in Spanish, so it's kind of expanded my culture diversity, and so I've learned the culture. I learned a little bit of Spanish.
Perfect. And how long have you been in San Antonio?
Well, I grew up in San Antonio. I moved back here from the Rio Grande Valley in 1984.
Okay.
Like that. So
awesome. And what does the Bexar County Clerk do?
Well, the Bexar County Clerk is the clerk and custodian for all records filed in the office. So to kind of make it simple, everyone in Bexar County is going to be touched by the county clerk's office at one time in their lifetime. For example, when you buy a house, your deeds and deeds of trust are filed there. You can get birth and death certificates there before 1967. If you're opening a new business, you apply for your DBA there, doing business as. Okay, you can also get your marriage license there. And the Bexar County Clerk, and that's some of the documents. Many documents are filed, just mention a few. The county clerk also supports 15 county courts and 5 additional auxiliary courts. Also supports the probate courts, and it supports the commissioners' courts with the administration.
So the county clerk's office serves a vital function here in San Antonio. And why do you feel there needs to be a change in that office?
Well, I think when a person commits to running for elective or public office, I think they must do whatever it takes to get the best results for their employees, for the general public, and the taxpayers, and I don't see that being done the last 4 years. And for example, and that's why I'm running. I'm running to bring transparency, my county leadership experience with the county, and fiscal accountability. And I don't know if I failed to mention there that I retired 2 years ago from Bexar County.
Yes, sir.
I was the first full-time records manager for the county, and I was responsible for around 36 department records stored at the off-site Bexar County Record Center. So I'm familiar with the records of the county. I'm familiar with budgeting. I'm familiar with personnel, and I know records.
And you mentioned budgeting. Do you feel that there's a lot of wasteful spending at the county level? Well,
in this last new budget for 2021, 2022, the county clerk's office has increased $360,000. That's 16% increase in operational budget, about a 4% increase in their supply budget. And I feel with my experience in the county, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I had worked at the district clerk's office for 8 years, and I was in charge of budgeting, personnel, and records. So I know where budgets can be cut. And I'm running to do that, to streamline. And I'll give you another instance. There's different programs the county clerk has. And one of the programs, they've got a mobile records program,
yes, sir,
which I don't have a problem with. It goes out to different precincts. And it lets people that don't have access to computers or knowledge or computers, and they can go to different precincts at certain dates to file for their documents and pay a filing fee. Now, my only issue with that is they used to have a $30,000 van that did that. Now they've got a $500,000 van, and now they're looking to spend $200,000 to park it. So as a businessman and conservative, I'm looking at the cost-benefit analysis. Nothing wrong with the program. May you want to expand it, but I want to see what is it costing taxpayers to put that truck out there. And maybe there would be a less cost of a way to do that.
Yes, sir. And what areas or what departments do you feel that need where cutting spending needs to happen?
Well, in the land records area, for example, land records are filed, deeds of deed of trust. Now, title companies are interested in that because when you buy a home, they want instant access to that database. So you have the indexing database, you have an imaging database. So on the indexing, when you file that, it gets scanned into the computer, but you still have to have, and this has been going on for a long time, you still have to have maybe 10 clerks index that data, name and property address and all that, right? It takes time. There can be errors. And now today there's OCR technology, optical character reader, where it can take that information off the document instantly instead of having someone having to index that data.
And are there any advances in technology that you plan to implement once elected?
Well, one of them would be at the Bexar County. Now, the county clerk that I didn't mention is also responsible for the Bexar County Record Center. It's an off-site center, 72,000 square foot, where all the county records are stored off-site. They still have a van that goes when somebody needs a case or one of the courts needs a case. They still have a van that goes between the record center and the courthouse, and that takes a lot of time. And I would look at adapting a fiber optic data processing cable that they could run from the courthouse to the record center instead of running it back and forth in a van.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that could be instant access to the judges when they need their records.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but do you believe there's enough staff at the county clerk's office today?
Yes, I do. I believe there's some stuff. Yes, I do. And I think it's a little bit top heavy in the administration. They've got a lot of executive administrative assistants.
And would you try to?
I've tried to repurpose that and cut down on the top administration.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And in your opinion, how is the current office being run today?
Well, as I mentioned, I would look at it's being run not to fiscal streamlining, is what I'm saying. A lot of cost and a lot of projects that may not be needed to be spending the taxpayers' money on. Yes, like I had mentioned about the truck, yes, trying to house this truck. Yes, that could be better spent maybe in the record center to bring the record center up to date with new technology. It has a sprinkler system type for its records. If there's a fire, they could put a foam suppression system in there. So money's could be allocated different and better uses. Now, the county clerk does have a records fund for preservation of records, and that money could be utilized also to help other county offices with their managing their records.
Sure. And Mr. Gold, what is your personal testimony when people think about you and your candidacy? What would you like them to think about? What is it that drives you?
Yeah, what drives me is a challenge. As I said, when I was with the county, I was hired in the district clerk office first 8 years, and that challenge was to bring in a records retention schedule. That's why he hired me. Also at that time was to do the budget, because they got a budget department. And so I took on those two challenges, and then there was the challenge for the county to get a record center. So I was on the records management committee. I was a facilitator to make that happen, to find a building to put the county's records in. I took that challenge. Now I'm looking at the challenge of the county clerk's office because of all the different departments and all the different applications, land records, probate records, county court. I want to take that challenge on and see if I can streamline that operation. And I've been a businessman. For the last 30 years, I've been a landlord, and I know how to cut costs like that. I also, I've also been, excuse me, I've also been an adjunct faculty at SAC for the past 10 years teaching records management, and got a certificate in records management. So I think my education experience with the county will give me a different perspective on the office than what the county clerk has now.
Yes. And Mr. Gold, what do you see as some of the biggest challenges for the county clerk's office?
Well, I see two things basically. The growth of the county. They're saying now 1,000 people a week are moving to Bexar County, so that means more homes bought, more documents for the county clerks to take in. So we got to make sure we have the technology and the database storage to handle that. A bigger issue, of course, is cybersecurity and malware. All these government agencies, private businesses are being infected by malware. So you got to make sure, I would make sure and work with the Bexar County Information Technology Department that the county clerk's office has encryption and all its hardware, its network, all its applications and contracts with vendors, and also the firmware, and that documents are security tagged. And what I mean by that, that allows who can see those documents and who can't see those. You give permission for that. So that's security. And of course, with BCIT, they do have a security department where they back up data. They have hard drives, and they also use the cloud to back up data. So if something happens or there's a data mining, then the county can back up that data from that day on.
And what would you do about transparency? Some people like to have their files, readily available online. What do you think the county clerk's office can do about issues like that?
Well, transparency, you can now go online and see your documents, and you can pay for a certified copy like that, of course. But in transparency, what I mean in the county clerk's office, are they giving transparency of what the county clerk's management's doing? I noticed in the last primary, the county clerk's opponent, the county clerk did not file their campaign funds that they're required to, and she filed the ethics complaint against the county clerk. So I don't know what about transparency and what else is happening in the office, because that's the record keeper of the county.
Yes, sir. And in closing, what would you say to voters who are potentially going to vote for you on November 8th?
Well, I'd say the county clerk position is a county-wide position. So I really need your support. And if you've liked what I said in this video today, as your next elected Bexar County Clerk, I commit to running the office with transparency, integrity, and fiscal accountability. And I also will strive to improve communications with county clerks, administrators, commissioners' court, the general public, and taxpayers. And I commit to always being available to the county administrators, commissioners' court, elected officials, and the public when needed. So if you like what I said today, then vote, go for the gold, and vote Richard A. Gold for Bexar County Clerk. Don't forget about early voting, October 24th to November 4th. And remember, a vote for me is as solid as gold. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Gold, I want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and talking to the voters.
And I appreciate you, John, for letting me do that today. Thank you. And go vote.
For the Uncensored Voice, this is John Melendez. Thank you for your support, your time, and we'll see you soon.